Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. So I've got an update for you guys on this massive severe weather outbreak. This is a multi-day severe weather outbreak occurring in the southeast today, as well as some severe storms moving through the northeast. So we've got a lot to talk about today, and we're going to be I'm going to be giving you guys a very detailed update. But you can see I've got a few tabs open just to show you guys that we're definitely going to be breaking down every aspect of this severe weather. But I mean, really, all of today's update is going to be focusing on the severe weather in the northeast and the southeast today. Nothing else today. So I will give you guys your normal forecast, obviously, with the alerts, the temperatures, and also I'll be showing you guys the satellite today. But to start things off, we got our radar right now. So basically, what's happening is you got a little bit of a storm system that's showing a very, very long tail all the way up into like the southwestern regions of Canada. This is all stretching all the way into parts of central California. So this is just going to be a very thin line of rain that will probably fizzle out today. But the farther north you go, the more intense these rainstorms get. So we'll probably have that the mudslide risk and also maybe some thunderstorms up there as well. Then in the southeast, you already got your full-on severe weather outbreak going already. You've got a few tornadoes reported this morning, but this is going to be the same story throughout this today and tonight, and then maybe even into tomorrow morning. But really, this area is the area of main focus, and then maybe we'll even see some more storms try to fire up across northeastern Texas. Otherwise, this region should be mainly dry because there is a trough that will try and keep that hot and dry air off to the south. And so basically what we've got is you've got surging moisture from the Gulf that's pushing into these storms. And then you've got this trough that's kind of straightened out into this one straight line that's really holding all the very hot and dry air off to the south. So really, there is a lot of moisture out here in the entire U.S. The plains are mainly dry, as you can see here, but obviously there's a lot of moisture in the northeast behind a cold front. Not one of those cold fronts that brings freezing temperatures, obviously because it's summer or not summer quite yet, but it's almost summer. But we will see a few people will see some below average temperatures out here. And then this storm here in the northeast, I'm just going to give a little breakdown. So basically, what you have is a low pressure that's been spinning around out here, but it's well on land. It's not one of those offshore low pressure systems that gives rain to the coastal regions of the northeast. This is directly on land and pretty much located right in this general area. And then this is all just spinning around like the center of this low pressure system. And so basically what that's going to bring is that's going to continue pushing off to the northeast. So basically as it moves off to the northeast, it will deliver some of those stronger thunderstorms that could possibly turn severe. But really what you'll get out of this is a few lightning flashes, maybe a few lightning strikes, and then also some thunder. And damaging wind gusts and small hail is definitely possible. But really, you have to be in the exact location where severe weather is most likely in the northeast for that to happen. But we're going to break all this down in today's update. So I'm going to clear my screen and we can go on to our temperatures. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all that's happening today. The tropics are mainly quiet. We did see, earlier in the month, the GFS was really hanging on to the idea of a major hurricane somewhere in the Gulf, but that idea has dropped all the way down to zero chance. So we really will not see any chance for tropical development that could get as far as to a major hurricane. But let's get back to today's update. So we're going to be moving on to our alerts here, the temperatures. And so basically you could see that, this was 8 a.m. this morning. You do have some pretty warm temperatures, but very below average, considering that, we don't usually see upper 50s and lower 60s in this region. Usually we see actually like, you know, 70s, lower 70s in the morning hours, like the late morning hours of the day, like the June, July months. But basically what you've got in the Northeast, you've got 50s and 60s. Closer to the coast, it's warmer just because that's where the lingering warm air is. And basically, what's pushing this storm aloft is a cold air, a cold front that's going to be pushing the storm off to the Northeast. And then a big boundary of cold air is going to settle in the Northeast, which isn't going to be chilly. It's just going to be a little bit cooler. So maybe like 60, like upper 60s and lower 70s will be your future highs for later this week. And then also in the southeast, you've got temperatures ranging from 70 to upper 60s to lower 70s, and then closer to the 80s in central and southern Texas. But as we continue out towards the afternoon hours of today, so this is like the middle of the day, 2 p.m. today, you've got temperatures ranging from the upper 70s to the lower 80s out here in the northern and central plains. Now, the southern plains, you guys will be roasting out here, mainly south central Texas. Look at this, 101 degrees just along the border of southern Texas and Mexico. But this is going to be a very, very hot day, brutally hot, and it's going to be like this for the rest of this week, and then we'll even see next week possibly. But for the southeast, look at Florida. You guys are almost up to 100 degrees today. 98 around here in central Florida. It's like the panhandle of Florida. And then pretty much the entire southeast you guys should be in the upper 80s. Some people in the upper 70s, and then also some of you guys could get even into the mid and to upper 90s. You could see here in central Louisiana getting up to 98 and 95 degrees today. So I mean, pretty much the warmest air is going to be in place right here in the southeast, and that's just because you have this trough that's been trying to send very very hot temperatures into the southeast, but also you've got the moisture and severe weather that's bringing these temperatures down. And that's what we see right here in this area. I'm coloring in red. You can see that you almost get a sudden drop of temperatures, and you're all the way back down into the upper 60s, but around you, you're in the 90s. So very interesting to watch to see here, but we'll see how this plays out. But that's pretty much the setup for today, and we're just going to be looking at your satellite loop for across the country. So you can see that what you've got is you got a lot of moisture up here in the northwest. I mean, look at this offshore moisture. I mean, this is a lot of rain stretching down into parts of Oregon and Washington State. Now, this is also pairing with this low pressure system up here just above Montana and Idaho, and now this is what's going to be pushing all that rain that I was talking about earlier off to the west. So like I said, this is probably going to just fizzle out once we get into the later afternoon hours, according to the HRRR and the satellite loop. What we've got here, and then you've got thunderstorms that have been firing across the southeast. Look at all these bubbling up. So this red you see here, this is the most moisture on the map. So the the reds, we don't even have that on here, but if you saw any black and if you saw any almost white and purple, this is the most moisture that you can possibly have. So a lot of moisture with these storms. So you can see the storms that are located, around, central Georgia. You guys definitely have the best opportunity for severe weather because, I mean, these are loaded with moisture and pretty much all the favorable conditions for severe storms. So that storm is a very high in interest for me, just kind of watching it, see how it plays out. But, there is a ton of moisture that's, backing this thing up, and it's really going to be, helping these thunderstorms fire up. Also, these ones across the Tennessee Valley, especially closer to Arkansas, you guys will definitely get in on some of those stronger storms. And now these are storms that are going to be stronger for a longer period of time, just because they have all that moisture that they can run through. And then, I mean, like I showed you guys in northwestern Texas, here are your storms that are going to be abruptly firing up. But man, these are also going to have a ton of moisture. So really, the path for this moisture is, surging northeastward, but mainly northward, and then, or if that's even a word, I don't know. But also this stream that's going to be moving and pushing up into, like, areas farther to the northwest. So very interesting to see how this pattern plays out today. But a lot of key factors are with this this weather event today. And then we go quickly to the northeast. You can see that clearly this is spinning, and your low pressure center is right here. A lot of deep clouds, or dark clouds, I should say. Not much breaking showing up here unless you're closer to the Ohio Valley. But it doesn't look like there's going to be too much moisture with these. You only see this green shade. This is just kind of showing up as some rain. So anywhere from this green and this red, that kind of tells you where the rainfall is going to be, and that blue is like just below the amount of the amount of like energy and I guess moisture for requirements for that rainfall. So we're gonna move on to our alerts. I'm just gonna quickly kind of look at what we've got going on right now. I'm gonna refresh the screen because we do have some things that expired. So as you can see, what we've got going on is we got a tornado watch. Now, this is a very, very big area. Look at this. This is for almost the entire state of Alabama. So that is incredible to see such a huge area under a tornado watch. And that, when I say tornado watch, some of you might say, "Oh, it's only a tornado watch." I mean, a tornado watch means that for the rest of today, every storm that hits this region an area is going to have the potential for dropping a tornado, and that is a big area that is dangerous. So any of you included in this tornado watch, be ready at all times. So whenever you hear of a supercell that's off to your west and it's heading in your direction, make sure that you are prepared, you have your first aid kit ready, and that you're always getting alerts from your local weather station, or any just any source that you get with alerts. But really, you gotta make sure that you are ready for whatever is to come. I think power outages are going to be a very big problem with these, because the damaging wind threat is going to be very high today. We've got a tornado warning just along the border of Georgia and Alabama, so you guys can check that out if you want, but we won't check that out right now. Heat watches, or heat advisories, I should say, for a lot of southern Texas. That's what we saw with the temperatures. You saw, temperatures getting into the hundreds and maybe even reaching 110 degrees today. So it's going to be very, very hot. You can see you've got an excessive heat warning already in place for that exact location where we did see 110 degrees show up on our GFS model for temperatures. But for the rest of you guys, severe thunderstorm watches. This one here for parts of northeastern Texas, parts of southeastern Oklahoma, and then also a lot of central Arkansas, and then parts of northern Louisiana. This also stretches into a lot of northern Mississippi, including a severe weather statement. Now, this severe weather statement is only for this little, few counties in north central Mississippi. The rest of you guys don't really have that. The rest of you guys are pretty much straightforward. You just got to get through today. Whatever comes is whatever comes. And you also do have this this heat advisory also going into southern Florida. So you guys in southern Florida, like we saw with the 98 degrees, I mean, it's going to be pretty hot if you are in the southern U.S. today. That's pretty much what we'll see throughout today. So we're going to be moving on to the NAM 3 km 3 kilometer model, or 3 km model, and we're just going to be looking at basically what these storms are going to be, the the characteristics of these storms and what direction they're going to be heading in. And so to start things off, this was 9 a.m. this morning. It's already almost 1 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know if you guys are in Central time. I'd have to check, but this was 9 a.m. this morning. You had very intense storms, mainly firing across Georgia and Alabama. Mississippi was almost completely dry as of late this morning. But early this morning, I mean, last night was absolutely insane. There was very intense storms that swept through this entire region. That was round one. Round two is today. This is the main round of storms that's going to be the most severe. Um, but yeah, Tennessee and Mississippi, you guys were both almost completely dry as of 9 a.m. this morning. But these storms have been raging across Georgia and parts of Alabama. So, the earliest storms are probably going to be, they're probably going to be worse, probably around Georgia and then parts of uh, north central Alabama, and then also there's this very, very, very intense bunch of storms that's going to be moving through, the border of northwestern Mississippi, east central Arkansas, and then also parts of southwestern Tennessee. Now, this independent group of storms is probably going to give you the most hail. We saw yesterday across Texas. We saw, I remember it was around 8 p.m. Eastern time. We had a tornado warning out here in Texas. I don't live in Texas, but when I was looking at the tornado warning, it said grapefruit size hail. And this storm could definitely be part of that old storm that just detached from it and it's recycling. So now this could definitely produce similar size hail. So when you see these like pinks and these very dark shades of red, well, that usually means that these storms are going to produce a lot more heavy precipitation and a lot more hail. But this one definitely has the biggest hail potential according to the NAM, as of what we're looking at right now. But it does continue to push southeastward, and this continues moving into the northern region of Mississippi, and it really is showing up. It's blowing up on the NAM right now, and it is showing like it could drop hail that could get up to the size of golf balls, maybe approaching baseball and softball size hail. But this is absolutely incredible. But the thing with these storms is that these are long track. These continue for hours and hours. We're getting to 5 p.m. They're still very, very intense, but a lot farther off to the southeast. So basically, what this is telling me is that for today, everyone is going to get at least one round of these storms. They're all going to be severe. Every one of the storms you see here on this map are going to be severe. But the severity of the storms is going to be highest when you're closer to the coast. So you're talking places like Georgia, but mainly southwestern Georgia, and then also parts of Alabama. But don't forget, I don't want you guys to forget that these are going to sweep through. These are going to sweep through Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas. So you're going to get the most fronts of storms closer to the west, but the strongest round of storms is definitely going to be closer to the Georgia area. But this continues pushing southward, and you do get this frontal line here, this squall line, and the squall line tells you and shows you where that damaging wind threat is going to be highest. So we will see actually, on the SPC that there is a very high risk for damaging winds today, and this is exactly what's causing it. So basically, what you're seeing here is you see the tornado threat has officially died down. So it's looking like once the evening hours and very early night hours of tonight, hit, then that tornado threat will die down. But that's when that wind threat starts ramping up. It's because of this. You got wind shear that's pushing the storm down. It's pushing the storm south. but you've also got this cold air, this cooler air. We saw with the temperatures that there will be a few pockets scattered around the southeast of cool air, and those pockets of cool air are what's going to be moving the storm south. And so all these supercells are going to be lining up into one squall line, and then they're going to be pushing south together, and that is going to cause that damaging wind threat. So with this, I mean, any of you included in this line, this like blue line, and if any of you are hit by this line of storms, I mean, 7 to like 9 and maybe even 10 o'clock tonight, you guys could definitely have wind gusts up to 60, maybe even 70 or 80 miles an hour. But man, is it going to be crazy out. But this even enters the panhandle of Florida. We're getting it to 10 p.m. tonight, and this enters the panhandle of Florida, and this still is bringing a very high damaging wind threat, and then a high pressure center takes over with this storm. Then on the backside of this, you've got some more scattered showers and thunderstorms. But this is going to be a heck of a day today, and we're definitely going to have to watch how this plays out. But just to kind of play through this, I'll keep this playing. If you want to watch this and how these storms move. So you got the afternoon hour storms; those are going to be the worst ones. There is your damaging wind threat. So very, very interesting to see what's going to be happening with these storms today and then also tomorrow. But just one more time to run through this. You can see that they start out. They start out pretty weak. Well, not too weak, but they don't start out as strong as they will once we get into the afternoon hours of today. So we're going to be moving on to the HRRR model for basically your CAPE. So CAPE is basically it means basically how much moisture is left to fuel these thunderstorms. So the higher the CAPE, the more moisture there is to fill and fuel these thunderstorms. So the higher number you see here, so like over here you've got 5,000 to 6,000. I don't know what, I think JKG. I think I don't remember what that stands for, but anyways, just to, in simple words, basically when you see the higher number of CAPE, that basically tells you where the most moisture is located. So we're going to we're going to go through the entire day. We're going to run through all of today. And you can see that this is pretty much a few hours ago. You did have a lot of moisture, but mainly off to the south. So south of northern Florida, you did have a lot of moisture here. You're up to 5,000 uh, you know kgs. I don't really know what that stands for. Like I said earlier, you can definitely, like, I don't really know what that stands for, but we'll definitely try and figure that out sooner than later. But just as we continue throughout today, you will see more and more of these pockets of moisture bubbling up today. But I mean, look at this. In southern Arkansas, you're up to almost 6,000 of these kgs. I guess we'll leave it at kg for now. But staying in the once you see like 4,000 and the 5,000s, that tells you where these storms are going to be the strongest. So we're definitely going to be continue to see these storms fire across the southeast. But when you see these like pockets of white and gray and then black, this really just tells you that these storms are going to be done once you see these pockets of almost no CAPE. I mean, this is down past like 1,000. You pretty much have zero chance of any severity with these storms. And so that is pretty much going to be the case for most of you residents in South Carolina, northern Georgia. I mean, this is very late. This is like almost later than the middle of the night tonight. Or actually, yeah. So like overnight hours of tonight. But here is that frontal boundary that's going to be pushing south, and that is where that damaging wind threat is going to be. So any of you behind it, you're done for the day with severe storms. But any of you still included with with these shades of red, purple, and orange, you guys will still have severe weather as of right now, showing like this time frame showing up here on the map. So, I mean, according to the HRRR that we're looking at right now, this should be nearing like the overnight hours of tonight. But this definitely shows you, and this points out that that area with the damaging wind threat. But we continue seeing this through now the very end of the day. You can see that pretty much, like I said, the people that are going to see the most storms are definitely going to be off to the west, because you're still seeing storms continue through the overnight hours of tonight in places like Louisiana and kind of that area. Um, but I'm gonna get rid of sounding there. And then tomorrow is another different story, a little bit of a different setup, but we'll talk about that if I can get an update in tomorrow. If not, then just stay safe out there with these storms, guys. So we're gonna be briefly looking at the SPC, and we're going to be looking at kind of the percentages and chances for severe weather. And so this was updated. The last time this was updated was probably, I think it was 7 a.m. or it might have been 8 a.m. this morning, sometime around there. But you're up to a moderate risk. This is not a kind of a level of severe weather risk that you usually see in the month of June. Usually, you only get up to an enhanced risk maybe once every 2 weeks. But I mean, a moderate risk is scary. This is almost a high risk, and some forecasters are even saying that this could definitely get changed and upgraded to a high risk. And if it does, that's when we turn on emergency. That's when we go into emergency mode, and we just, you don't worry about how this, how the severe, the ingredients of the severe weather anymore. That's when you just know severe weather is expected, and that's when you have to make sure that you get the news out to the public, because that's when people can die and it gets scary. And that we are almost at that level today. So that's why I'm taking this very seriously. But I mean, this is very intense. So basically, what the moderate risk, the area of most concern, is closer off to the west. You notice that this is mainly in south central Alabama and Mississippi. So if you're in that moderate risk, you guys will probably experience the most severe weather and the strongest severe weather combined. I just heard thunder in the distance in the background, but because we're seeing storms up here in the Northeast as well. But closer to the border of like Georgia and Mississippi, you guys, and Louisiana, or sorry, Georgia and Alabama, you guys will also see some of those stronger storms, as you guys are in that moderate risk. But the farther north you go, the less storms you'll experience. But the enhanced risk, I mean, you've got a huge population of almost 8 million people. And this is going to be stretching all the way to the coast of Georgia and all the way into northeastern Texas. Not quite the DFW area. You guys are a little bit further west out of the blue. But you could definitely see that just the surrounding areas of this moderate risk are going to be included in that enhanced risk. Maybe this will actually, when we get the next update on this map, we will actually see that enhanced risk shoot up northward. So maybe you guys closer to like Jackson and Memphis, Tennessee, you guys could definitely be included in this enhanced risk. But slight risk got a population of 20 million people. It is incredible how many people are included in this. But I mean, this is including areas like looks like Dallas, Texas, Memphis, Tennessee, Fort Worth, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, and Arlington, Texas. And I'll run through these major cities in the moderate risk. So you guys, Montgomery, Alabama, Columbus, Georgia, Jackson, Mississippi, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Albany, Georgia. You guys have to stay alert today. Today is going to be one of those days where severe weather is going to be almost like every moment of the day. So you got to be very aware and ready for whatever's going to be happening today. If you are in any of those suburbs or areas that I just mentioned. Okay, the enhanced risk major cities like Birmingham, Alabama, Shreveport, Louisiana, Mobile, Alabama, Savannah, Georgia, and looks like Macon, Georgia. You guys also got to be ready almost as much as the moderate risk. Pretty much everyone has to be ready the same amount, and just for whatever comes today, because there could be some major changes with the forecast for today. But all we know is that these storms are going to be very, very strong. Okay, and when we just run through the Northeast. So you guys in the Northeast, you're up to a marginal risk. This is only a level 1 out of 5, so maybe some severe storms will be in play today. But this is really going to be closer to the I-95 corridor, including places like New York City, Jacksonville, Florida. This including this little area here, Newark, New Jersey, Jersey City, New Jersey, and Yonkers, New York. So really, almost all of um, Long Island, and then also parts of southern New Hampshire and Vermont, and then parts of Massachusetts and southern New York State. So, I'm hearing that thunder. So we're getting our round of storms here in the Northeast, which actually brings us to the NAM 3K model for what these storms will be bringing in the Northeast. So as you can see, here's your low pressure center that's just along the borderline of New York State and Pennsylvania. And this is all rotating, but right around 2 p.m., you start seeing these storms fire up, and these are going to be very intense, especially along this line here, stretching into parts of like north central New York State, and then also parts of New York City. Look at this. Very intense storms showing up with some reds and oranges here along closer to like the New York City and western area of Long Island. You guys will probably see the most of the strongest storms today. Then a secondary line of storms will develop closer, off to the west, and we'll definitely see those storms sweep through today. But the first round is probably going to be more severe once these enter like Vermont and New Hampshire, and then also parts of Massachusetts. And then the second round will come in probably around 5, 6, maybe 7 p.m. tonight. And then these storms will move off to, the east, and they'll probably move offshore. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like, share, comment, and subscribe. If not subscribed to the channel, we'll see you guys in the next video. So please stay safe today, as there are two areas of severe weather. The main one in the southeast, we're probably going to be seeing an outbreak today. So please be careful with that. Always just really stay safe. I really want everyone to be staying alive, well, and healthy. And then you guys in the Northeast too, watch out for some storms that could get pretty intense this afternoon. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.